Hello everyone, welcome back. We have a couple of trades to discuss. Just recently we saw 2 trades go down. We'll get to both of these trades coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Talkie channel. Now before we begin this video, don't forget the latest video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. We're now with all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. And don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so something else goes to today's video. So in today's video, we're talking about 2 trades that we saw recently. The roster freeze is nearly upon us, but we're still seeing some trades. This has got to be one of the most active November and Decembers for trades I've seen in quite some time. So we'll start with a smaller, more insignificant trade that happened earlier today over on Wednesday, and that was between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the St. Louis Blues. It was a simple trade that trades as follows. Offseason acquisition for the St. Louis Blues, Pierre Oliver Joseph, has been dealt back to the team he played with last year in Pittsburgh in exchange for future consideration. So it's a small deal. For the Blues side of things, it makes a little bit of sense. Pierre Oliver Joseph, a left shot defenseman, was brought in to help that blue line, but after he was brought in the offseason, they brought in Broberg via offer sheet. They recently just acquired Broberg and Fowler, who are both left shot defensemen. Once Letty gets back, the left side of their D is completely filled up, and they already have a couple of other really good defensemen who are already ahead of him in the depth chart, so having him around didn't really make much sense. They're probably going to have to place him on waivers anyway, so they're trading back to where he was originally from last year in Pittsburgh. Just had a couple of really decent seasons in Pittsburgh. He's on a 1-year deal with AV of $950,000. It was an interesting pickup. Last year, had 11 points in 52 games with Pittsburgh after having a career-high 21 points in 75 games the year prior. He's put up some of his better numbers in Pittsburgh. The Penguins acquired him, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago in the Alex Galchenyuk trade from Arizona. So Joseph's been a decent player. He was a solid third-pair defenseman. With the Penguins still not overly good, they're still at the 500 marker now. I think they'll make a run for the playoffs, but I still think they'll be sellers at the deadline. So if they do wind up moving guys like Pettersson or Grizzly, who are both pending UFAs, they're going to need some guys to sort of help round out that D core for the rest of the season. I think Joseph could be that. He's on a 1-year deal. He's on a cheap deal. He'll be a UFA at the end of the year, so if it doesn't work out again in Pittsburgh, they can always let him go as a free agent. So it's an interesting trade there. Like I said, with the Blues acquiring Letty and Broberg over the past couple of months, I don't think they really need Joseph anymore, so they move into Pittsburgh, and with Pittsburgh potentially being a seller, I think Joseph could be a really good pickup there for the Penguins. So an interesting move, but Joseph was moved to the Pittsburgh Penguins by St. Louis in exchange for future considerations. And lastly, we saw a massive deal pulled off by the New York Rangers. I thought the Rangers would probably wait until after the holiday freeze to start making some moves, but they made a big one, and it trades as follows. The New York Rangers acquired defenseman Will Borgen, as well as a 2025 third and 2025 6th round pick from the Seattle Kraken in exchange for former 2nd overall pick Kaapo Kakko. Now, Kakko's had a really interesting week this past week. He was healthy scratched back over on Sunday. He was then talking to reporters about how surprised he was that he was healthy scratched. He then got back into game action yesterday on Tuesday, but he had a very low time on ice, and now he's been traded to Seattle. So this is an interesting trade. We'll start from the Rangers side of things. Kakko never really worked out in New York. Call it developmental problems or something like that, but Kakko never really fit in with the Rangers organization. Lafreniere, at least over the past year or two, started to grow and sort of started to gain traction to be a solid level NHL player. Kakko is still hovering around like that 3rd, maybe 2nd line player, so the Rangers didn't really see a fit with him long term. He's a pending RFA, so obviously they may have had some contract negotiation problems in the offseason, so to get rid of that headache, they trade him away. They get 3 pieces. The first one's an interesting one. It's Will Borgen. Borgen was an expansion pick of the Seattle Kraken from the Buffalo Sabres. He's a younger type defenseman. He is in the final year of his deal on a pending UFA. He's in the final year of a 2-year contract with AV of $2.7 million. He's been in Seattle the last 4 seasons, this year plus the last 3. The first year he didn't have an overly great experience in Seattle, but the last 2 years he's been fantastic, putting up career high 20 points in 82 games 2 years ago, and then topped that last year, putting up 25 points in 82 games. This year for the Kraken, Borgen has put up 2 points only in 33 games. He's sort of gotten lower ice time with guys like Evans and Montour surpassing him on the depth chart, so he's sort of been falling out. There's been some recent rumblings over the past couple of days that Elliot Friedman was to put out. I'm going to mention this in a future video that I already recorded, but I haven't put out yet, saying that Borgen's a potential trade chip. His time on ice is going down. He's a pending UFA. The Kraken already have some really good blue liners, so there was a lot of speculation that Borgen was going to get moved. I think he could be a really good fit there for the Rangers. He can be a more 3rd pair defenseman than Trouba was. They can have Schneider as their 2nd pair defenseman and Fox as their top pair defenseman on the right side, and Borgen for at least the rest of the year can be a solid 3rd pair defenseman for the Rangers. If it works out, great. It could be a really good fit fit there. Maybe he signs an extension. If it doesn't, he can leave as a free agent, so it could be a really good pickup there for the Rangers. Rangers also get 2 draft picks. It's a 3rd and 6th round pick in the 2025 draft, both Seattle's. So Seattle's currently on the bubble right now. They have a losing record, but they're not too far off a playoff spot, so very likely this pick will be between the 12 and my guess would be 20 mark when it all is said and done at the draft. So it's a decent mid-level and low-level draft pick for Kakko. So the Rangers get a solid 3rd pair defenseman who's in the final year of his deal in Borgen, plus a couple of draft picks to add to their draft capital. Maybe they could trade those picks later on to get some improvements if they find themselves back into a playoff spot. Meanwhile, for the Kraken, I really like this deal. They were probably not going to bring Borgen back, and they move only a couple of low-end picks, and they get a solid forward. For Kakko, he's in the final year of a 1-year deal with AAV of $2.4 million. He'll be an RFA at the end of the contract. Kakko this year so far has 4 goals and 14 points in 30 games. He's only 5 back of this point total from last year, which he had in 61 games. So that's great news there. His career high is 40 points, so maybe he'll catch that, maybe he won't. We'll have to wait and see. But Kakko, I think, could be a really good player. He's more of a defensive-minded forward, so he's not going to put you up a whole bunch of points, but he can put up 40 to 50 points, I think, on a decent team. He can be a solid 3rd, maybe 2nd line forward, playing like a shutdown line. I think he'd be a really good fit there in Seattle. The Kraken already have a ton of forwards, so this does make me wonder, is there a possibility the Kraken maybe move a forward in the not distant future, whether that be a Tanev or a Gord, who we've heard over the past while be mentioned as trade chips for the Kraken. So we're going to have to wait and see on that, but this is, I think, a really good pickup there, and Kakko's going to be a really good fit on a younger forward group like the Kraken has. So this is an interesting move there as the Kraken acquire Kaapo Kakko from the New York Rangers in exchange for Borgen, a 3rd and a 6th round pick. So all in all, these are 2 interesting moves. In my opinion, I think the Penguins do win the Pierre Oliver Joseph deal because he's a solid 3rd pair defenseman, and they didn't give up anything to the Blues to get him, so I do think the Penguins win that deal. And I do think for the time being, the Kraken won the Kakko deal because I think the upside of Kakko is way better than the Borgen or a 3rd and a 6th round pick. But I think maybe if the Rangers extend him, or if they do something well with that 3rd and 6th round pick, I think that could be a really good pickup there for the Rangers, and maybe, who knows, they could win this deal. But I think for the time being, Kakko going to the Kraken win that deal. So all in all, so a couple of interesting trades. Really good to see Kakko finally get dealt, get his first start in Seattle, and interesting to see Joseph go back to Pittsburgh. So definitely, I'll have to get your thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. What are some of your guys' opinions on this? Do you think the Kraken won the Kakko deal, or do you think it was the Rangers? Do you think the Penguins won the Joseph deal, or do you think it was the Blues? Definitely, I'll have to get your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. Until this video, if you're watching, subscribe below. Thank you for all your support. We're going to do with you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Definitely leave a comment down in the comment section below. So this can also discuss today's video. Also, the blog, to news, rumors, analysis. If that's, check that out. The link down in the description below. And can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.